Drummers, what's going on? Dr. B and I are back. I'm Brandon. This is Dr. B. Welcome, Drum Mechanics. Here's the thing. Many drummers I've been talking to over the last several years have been talking about rotator cuff issues, tension across the neck, tension in the shoulder, and the rotator cuff is a really common area that drummers struggle. What I want to do today is give you one simple thing that you can try on the drum set, extremely simple, to try and help this thing and really ultimately allow you to continue playing the drums. If you don't know, I'm a fitness professional. I've been studying biomechanics and motor control for many years. I've been teaching it internationally for 14 years. So these principles are all based around understanding active range of motion, internal mechanics, and ultimately a little bit of pain science. Simply put, the number one thing before we jump into this, and this applies to really any part of your body, is if it hurts, don't poke it. There's this common thought of if it hurts, you gotta stretch it and yank on it and put your finger into it. But truthfully, it doesn't work. I don't know if you've ever had a disagreement with somebody, but if you've ever had it, like I have a wonderful wife, but if her and I are having a disagreement and when the fight is done, and I come back 5 minutes later and go, I thought about one more thing I wanted to say, and I bring it up again. It does not help the situation because truthfully, anytime there's discomfort, and that's a funny situation, it takes time for it to relax. A much more pragmatic example, drumming is like a blister. If you play too much, you're squeezing the stick too hard, you haven't allowed time for your skin to adapt, you will get something like a blister, which we've all had, this big sack full of fluid. If we wait long enough, that blister will actually relax and harden and become a callus, right? Callus is hardened skin. And that calcification of the skin actually gives us a really nice barrier for it to play off of, although we should try to avoid blisters as much as we can. But I was talking to Craig Reynolds on Instagram, and he told me that sometimes that's unavoidable when you're playing big shows with wet hands. Nonetheless, the difference between a callus and a blister is adaptation. Now, when we're talking about rotator cuff issues, there's a lot of different things that can happen here. I mean, underneath here, we've got a lot of different bones. We have the subacromial bursa, which is subacromial bursitis, which can be called rotator cuff issues. You actually have 4 rotator cuff muscles. The most prolific one that gets injured is the supraspinatus that goes underneath this bone into the supraspinatus fossa. And bicep tendon longhead and one of the tricep tendons are also culprits to give you sensations that we call rotator cuff. I'm not going to tell you rehab exercises because my expertise is working around that stuff and building up strength to try and give you more opportunities. So here's what I want you to do. If you're currently experiencing rotator cuff issues, first and foremost, go see a professional in person because a hands-on diagnostic assessment is one of the best things that you can do. But if we go with this idea of these words I want you to remember, the window of opportunity, the WOO, right? The window of opportunity. If I take my arm, and I have my arms here, forgetting if I've got pain or not, if I take my arms and I reach all the way out like so, and I come all the way back in, right? This is the full amount of active range of motion that I have available, not passive, active because I'm actively taking myself there. If I get to this position where my arm is pretty much at 90 degrees on both sides, I can tell you without a rotator cuff issue, I'm actually getting tightness across the front of my shoulders that I just don't like the feeling. Like if I hung out here for 5 minutes, it'd be unpleasant. If I come back to about here, which is about 45 degrees, I have no discomfort. So we've got 2 windows of opportunity. We have the window of opportunity of how far you can actually go, right? How far your body can take itself with its current strength and status. And then there's the window of opportunity that feels good. This feel-good opportunity is where I like to play. Like personally, this enormous drum set I've got right now, I don't have a second floor tom, I don't have lots of cymbals off to the side because I like to be able to stay straight ahead and turn my arms out and stay within my window of opportunity. Even the 6-inch little drum over here, the ride cymbal, everything is within my window of opportunity. So if we take this idea and we think the window of opportunity is your current ability to visit an end range position comfortably, that's what we're going to embody with this rotator cuff. So if we look, and there's a few images I'll attach here so you can see there's this pain zone, I want to make sure you don't flare your elbows out to the side. We keep the elbows underneath your hands, hold your drumsticks with the desired technique, and if you play match or traditional grip, that's fine too. I play match grip, and what I want you to do is go around the drum set and where can you turn your arms to comfortably? Now, for someone with a rotator cuff issue, you may have an asymmetrical amount of motion. Like the right arm might go out to 80 degrees and the left arm might only go out 20 degrees. But you can see here, I can still hit the hi-hat, I just can't get to my floor tom. So this is great. If you're struggling with rotator cuff issues and you find you have this asymmetrical motion where my right arm cannot go too far, you can probably see that my arm is not quite in the center of my floor tom. Depending on your current status, this could bargain a conversation you have with yourself of do you create a really custom drum set, position-wise, temporarily to avoid poking the discomfort. We have this unique problem as drummers that we have all of this geometry that are predetermined. Like that's why I like these rototoms, because they're so low. I get away from some of the depth issues that some of the drums have, and specifically for ergonomics conversations. That's very cool, by the way. Rototoms. That being said, if I find that my right arm can only turn out to here, my left arm can go out all the way. If I play right hand lead, right now, I could position my ride cymbal right here, because this feels good. I might even take my floor tom and move it to the left side and actually get creative and learn how to do left-hand lead fills so I can stay away from this position if I've got a really long-term shoulder issue. This could all be just temporary, but ultimately at the end of the day, here's the thing you have to do. You can't poke the discomfort. You cannot. If you keep pushing it, in most cases it gets worse. And what we don't know if you don't have diagnostic imaging is the sensation in the shoulder a tear, or is it just an unhappy muscle or tissue just right now? Both are going to require rest, but both you don't want to poke, in my opinion. Seek a professional in person. So window of opportunity, last conversation. Elbows at your side, externally rotate your arms, identify where you can place the instruments, put everything within this window, and I'll tell you, if you don't believe me, go all the way to the end range, and if you're like, I can go here, Brandon, it's a little tight, but I can hang out here. Stay there for 2 minutes, and then send a message below and let me know if you still like it. You can improve this range. I mean, Jonathan Moffat doing all that crazy cymbal stuff. There's ways to improve it, but just for today, let's work within the window of opportunity so you can feel good while you play and create a really unique drum set while not hurting.